Welcome to the New Year's resolution video. I have to warn you, I really hate the term New Year's resolution because I think it would be like 99.9% of them never happen. So I prefer goal setting because I actually do take these very seriously. And I'm going to show you a method of how to set them and actually uh, use the system as you go throughout the year that makes you much more likely to accomplish what you set out to accomplish. So this is my kind of goal setting template page. I'll probably strip some of the information out of it and let people copy it. But really, what you want to do first, the very most important thing you do of everything, and maybe the most fun part, is actually setting what you want to accomplish in the year. And that's what this first section up here is. I divide mine into three categories: work, personal, and health. Sometimes I include a different one like finance or, I don't know, self development or something. But I've learned over the years that this the more simple that I keep my goals, the more likely it is I will accomplish them. So if I list out just like 10 different categories and 10 goals in each, I'm probably not going to accomplish very many of them. But last year I did this and I accomplished almost all of them. It was like reflect, get to profitability, which we did, startup cookie launch, which I did. What was my personal one? I don't remember. But anyway, it went pretty well. I was pretty pleased with myself. Um, so I'm going to kind of walk through my version for 2024. I'll warn you, these aren't my real ones. Actually, some of them are, but I think they're pretty good for examples. So to start with, for work, I have two different work projects. I've got Reflect. So I'd like to increase our MRR growth by 10%. And Startup I'd like to hit 20K MRR on our new product that we just launched. For personal, I want to learn how to paraglide. That actually is a real one. And it's one that I've been putting off for a while. So that's why I included it as a personal goal this year. And then health, I want to get back to exercising 14 hours a week, which is something that I used to do, but I don't anymore. And I don't think I should be trending in that direction as I get older. So, for the sake of this kind of example, this is what I'm going to treat as my goals. And then what I'm going to do is this next section is quarterly goals. So you can probably see how this is working. It's going to cascade down. And I'm just going to do the first quarter here. You can do the other quarters if you want. I think there's good and bad sides of that. I think that the good side of doing all the quarters at once is that you kind of actually think about your year and you think about how to divide it. So that's pretty useful, but realistically, things are probably going to change. So I wouldn't focus too much on, the end of next year. Focus on the beginning. And then what we're going to do is first quarter. Okay. What can I do in the first quarter to help Reflect get to 10% MRR growth? Well, the thing that would make our growth much easier than anything is if we were able to just develop a new growth channel. So for this quarter, I'm going to say launch a new growth channel effort. And if I was doing this for real, which I will do in my personal notes, but I don't want to give that information publicly, I'll be a little bit more detailed here. So for this, for example, I would probably want to outline the possible growth channels that we would want to launch. And since it's a quarterly goal, not a monthly one, I'm going to take it a step further and say, and get some traction, because launching something doesn't really do anything. We really want traction. For Startup Cookie, I'm going to say, get to 5K MRR on the new product. And then, for Q2, for that one, it might be like 10K, 15, 20K, because I grow that one pretty linearly. And then personal, learn how to paraglide. So you can kind of see why this process is so valuable. So here, I'm forced to kind of think about, well, what is the first step that I should take in learning how to paraglide? Well, I want to do it with my friends, and we've already talked about doing it in April with them. So for this one, I'm going to say getting it booked, which seems small, but it's actually most of the way there. So I'm going to say book our P1 and P2 course in April. And then that makes it pretty easy. Like, some of these can go down. So, for this one, it would be, like 10K MRR, I think I said. And then this one now would be, take the P2 course, And then, maybe 3 would be, this one kind of boring. So this one would just be 15K MRR. And the personal one for paragliding would be maybe, do 10 solo flights or something. I'm just making that up. So anyway, I'm just doing that so that you can kind of see how I go down and through there. The reflect one will be, a little bit more difficult to do for these quarters because it's like, I'm not really even sure what the channel will be, let alone how much it will be working, but you can do your best. I think it's more important to do the Q1 one. And health, exercise 14 hours a week. The first step for that for me is just going to be exercise every single day. So in the first quarter, I'm not going to worry about, making sure it's 2 hours a day. I'm just going to make sure that I get in the habit of going every single day. And that's pretty much how the quarterly section works. So let's now go down to the monthly part. And this is going to work in the exact same way. I just have, my same goals set up here for each month. And I'm just going to break it down. So, okay, Q1, reflect, we want to launch a new growth channel, a new effort. So maybe, for January, we're just going to build the new channel, or maybe channel plural, build the new channel efforts. So as an example, it's like, if we were to launch some new meeting assistant that helped with growth, it's like maybe January would want to be the build, maybe February going to be the actual launch, et cetera, et cetera. Some of these might be kind of hard to do, but you can kind of make it more general. Like you can see here, build the new channel effort. Like I haven't outlined what the actual channel is. I'm just going to say, okay, that's going to be my build month where I actually build out these efforts. And then, like I said, I could go down into February and say that's going to be when I launch. For Startup Cookie, getting to 5K MR on the new product. I'd kind of would like to hit that in January. This is another reason why this is valuable. It's like, is that not ambitious enough? Maybe I should be more ambitious. Maybe that should be the January goal. But for the sake of this kind of example, I'm just going to kind of stick with that. And so maybe in January, I want to have, let's say at least, 10 client calls. It's actually not that many. I think I had 10 this week, but 10 client calls and send out 5 contracts, something like that. For paragliding, I can say, for January, we're going to get prices, decide on location, and agree as group. And then for my health one, maybe this one, I'll just say like, try to exercise every single day with the assumption that I'm not actually going to succeed at that on the first month. And then, if I do actually accomplish this, so let's say that in January, we actually launch a new growth effort, or I actually, get to 5K MRR in January. Well, then I can kind of go up here and say, since I already met that and it wasn't ambitious enough, I could, cross this out and change it. So maybe I want that to be 10K MRR now. Oops. And cross that out. And, or if it's like that happened in March, then, you set it pretty well. That's the end of the quarter. And then you go down and do these. I think, right now doing this, since I've done all of my first quarter ones, I would actually try and go through for February and March and do all of those. And then I would probably leave April until I go do Q2. And then in March, I will go through and update this. Some of them I might have written in already. Maybe I need to adjust this. So if I did bump that up to 10K, maybe I would need to move this to 15, and so on and so forth. And you can just see how it cascades down there. And then the nice thing is, each week when you're on Sunday night or Monday morning, when you're planning out your week, you can just go into the month and see what your high level goals are for the month. And that should all be connected all the way to these top tier goals. And then if at any moment in time you shift your goals, to do that concretely. I think where most people go wrong on their goals or their New Year's resolutions is that they set them and then they forget about them, even if it's like an important one. it's quite easy to do when you just get lost in kind of the day to day view of things. So I think the nice thing about working out of this is that you always have the goals in mind. And, each day you set your daily goals based off your weekly goals. Your weekly goals are based off these monthly goals. The monthly goals are based off the quarterly ones, and the quarterly ones are based off the annual ones. So you really should be accomplishing your resolutions or your goals. And if you're not, it should become pretty obvious. And if you ever don't want to do something, like let's say I decide, oh, I actually lost all of my excitement about paragliding. I took an intro course and I actually hated it. So I'm going to change this one. Then you can cross it out and concretely change it. And at the end of the year, you can know that you changed your goal. And that's pretty valuable too. So I think everyone should do this, honestly, just as an exercise for the year ahead, even if you're not into resolutions. I personally hate resolutions, but again, I love goal setting. It's a pretty fun exercise, and I do think you're much more likely to accomplish your goals after. So good luck in 2024, everyone.